Elected auditor for the Clallam County, and she's been kind enough to come down and help us understand the process for getting on the ballot for any of you who are thinking of getting on the ballot for any of the 44 offices I think are available in Clallam County. They include the county commissioner, the port commissioner, 3 city council seats, 3 school board seats, so there's a lot of openings, and I hope some of you will become motivated to take part in this. So Shoona, if you're ready, come on up here and tell us not only about how to get on the ballot, but give us a little bit of information about how you survived the campaign trail last summer.
Great turnout, and hopefully every one of you I'm going to see on filing week in my office. Is that right? Yeah. We have 48 offices open this year, and as they always. How about this? There you go. Is that better? Is that all right? Sure. As I was saying, as Dale had said, we do have 48 offices open this year. We have county commissioner position, number 1 for the SWIM. We have port commissioner, 2 hospitals have positions open, 3 of the cities, 5 school districts, 6 fire districts, 2 park and rec districts, and 2 water districts. So quite a bit's up this year. Filing week is May 11th through the 15th. We are open from 8:30 to 4:30, and filings can be accepted by mail beginning April 27th. Otherwise, before May 11th, you cannot come into the office and actually turn in your declaration of candidacy, so you have to wait until filing week. We have 2 kiosks that we have in our election center that you can file online. You cannot file online from home though. We do not accept credit cards, and we don't have the online filing for at home. So you would have to actually come into the office and file online there. If you are not able to come into the office, you can fill out a declaration of candidacy, which you can find on our website. I did bring a couple of them here, but we really encourage you to come into the office and do that. But if you are not able to, you can mail it in. You can have somebody else bring it in for you. And that's actually your only 2 options. If you're not here, you can't turn it in yourself. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of explain one of the reasons that we have you do it on the kiosk instead of just printing out the declaration of candidacy. If you do that, we have to actually input it for you. When you do it, only the offices that you are available to run for will show up on that kiosk. If you do it at home, sometimes people will put in the wrong position number, they won't put in a position number, and then when I go to input it, I don't really know what you're filing for. It takes time to have to contact you. So if you just do it straight on the computer, you put your name in there, your voter registration takes over, and it just comes up and says, oh, Sherry Kidd, you can vote, you can file for City Council for Port Angeles. It doesn't even give her the option to file for SWIM or Forks. So it's wonderful for our office. We don't have the error of somebody filing for something that they really shouldn't be. The other thing is you will receive an email confirmation. It will also tell you if anybody else has filed for that position, which is great news, and it gives you some information on the online voters guide that we have so that you can submit a statement and a biography and your picture. Those are the 2 things about that. Kind of went over with you already all the offices that are open for filing. I did bring in copies of the offices open for filing, so if you want to take that home with you, you can go ahead and look at that. I also brought in election steps for candidates. Brought in quite a few of those, so if you want to take that with you, most of the stuff that is in that packet is everything that I'm talking about tonight. The qualifications for any of the offices that are open are pretty simple. The only one that has an exception is the city offices. You have to be a resident of the city for 1 year in order to actually file for that office. Now, I don't require you to prove that to me, but if anybody else wants to challenge that, you just need to remember that you need to be a resident of that city for at least 1 year. Okay, so we do have some offices that will have filing fees. The county commissioner is going to be $678.48. That's 1% of the annual salary. The port commissioner is $30.48. The hospital district out in Forks, they have a $10 filing fee. City of Port Angeles is $66, and the city of Sequim is $18. All of the other offices that are available this year are free. So I know I'm going to see you, right? On Friday, we have a lot drawing. For the lot drawing, that determines whether or not you take first position, second position, third position. So on Friday, after we close at 4:30, we put everybody who is filing for a certain position, we put them in a hopper, we roll them around, we pull them out. The first person that comes out, that's whose name goes on the ballot first. And the second person, third person, and so forth. Now that's for the primary, if you're on the primary. Once you go to the general, that could flip-flop. If you're the first person on the primary ballots, but you actually got the least amount of votes, then the other person will be #1 position for the general election. If you decide not to run, you basically have the weekend to think about it. That's it. You have until closing on Monday following filing week to turn in a withdrawal slip stating that you no longer want to run. If you file for one position early in the week and then you decide, I don't want to run for that, I want to run for something else, if you paid a filing fee, your filing fee will not be reimbursed. But I will be happy to collect another filing fee for the other office. But you would still need to file a withdrawal for that office that you don't want to run for anymore. So just remember that Monday at 4:30 is the absolute drop dead line. In years past, the auditor had the discretion to go ahead and say, yeah, we haven't gone to printing yet, we'll go ahead and take your name off of there. RCW now has changed that. If you miss that Monday at 4:30 of filing for that withdrawal, you are on that ballot regardless. Okay, so the next thing that I have is PDC requirements. So once you declare that you want to be a candidate, whether it be you're collecting funds, you go to the paper and you declare with them, or you come in and file with us, you have 2 weeks to get with the PDC and start turning in all of your forms. Some of the jurisdictions are small enough, and if you don't raise any money, you aren't required to do any forms, but I highly recommend that you get in touch with the PDC and figure that out. We do not do anything with that. We don't file those for you. You no longer have to file those forms with our office, but I did bring in, starting it off on the right foot, if you want to take one of those and look at it. So tons of information. The PDC is absolutely wonderful. Last year, I don't know how many times I called them, and they are Johnny on the spot, answering questions and answering that phone too. So I really highly recommend that you contact them if you have any questions. And their website is wonderful too. It's pdc.wa.gov. And again, the C1 and the F1, they need to be done within 2 weeks of when you declare candidacy or after you file with us. And this last portion that I'm going to talk about tonight is our online voters guide. I also brought in some information on that. As most of you know, we've had an online voters guide available to candidates for quite a few years. The online candidate information that I brought tonight, please bear with me, it's not finished. It's from last year. We haven't set our deadlines on there quite yet, so everything will say 2014 on there still. But exciting news is I am hoping this year year, we are going to have a printed voter's guide for the general election. I have just submitted an agenda request to be put on the commissioner's agenda for next week to have them sign a contract between us and the Secretary of State's office. So basically that voter pamphlet that you get every general election, you're going to open it now and hopefully you will see all of the local candidates in there.
Shoona, will that have elected positions and issues?
Yes. Yep. Anything that we normally put on the online voter's guide would be in this printed pamphlet. Years past, it was so expensive for us to do that we just couldn't afford to do it. Now, because we can piggyback with the Secretary of State's office, it's so much cheaper. We can also manipulate the pages so many different ways that I don't have a whole bunch of blank pages. I'm going to be able to fill it up as much as possible so that it costs us the least amount possible. But we have had voters crying for years to have a printed voters pamphlet, more so than just what the PDN does or the SQUEM Gazette. And I'm very excited about this. I'm hoping that it works out this year, and we have a lot of the candidates turn in statements and biographies and photos so that we can say it was worthwhile going through this effort to get that printed voter's guide. I think that was about all I had. Unless anybody has any questions for me tonight, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Tell us a story about the campaign trail.
Campaign trail. The campaign trail.
Hasn't been that long ago.
You know, I aged a lot. Yes. You know, as your parents always ask you to grow up and mature. Well, I grew up and I matured really fast. But you know, as much as some days I'd like to say, oh my God, I would never do that again, I am so thankful that I stepped out of my comfort zone and I ran for the candidacy. I believe it really did help me grow emotionally, outwardly for the public, and I'm loving my job. I'm loving it so much. Even though I haven't had an election supervisor until yay last week, we finally hired somebody. It was very difficult the first few months trying to do a new job that I know a lot about, but I don't know the details about it, so I'm going to be learning for a long time. But also having a countywide election in February, that was very difficult to do. So we got through it. We did an election with flying colors and no hiccups, so that was wonderful. But back to the campaign, like I said, it was just, I can't even explain the kind of experience that it was. It was tough some days. My husband knows there's a lot of days I was home bawling my eyes out saying, I don't want to do this anymore. But there was other days that we were just so excited, and like I said, it helps you grow and meet people, and I don't know what else to say about it. It's just the experience is overwhelming. It was wonderful, and I'd do it again.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.